What's your name?
Craig.
Craig.
Yeah.
All right.
Speedy. Okay, so you wrote two different pieces of music for this game, Guitar Hero 3. Can you tell us about the process that of going writing that?
Pretty different kind of a process in this case than anything else I've ever done. For the actual guitar duel, I basically just walked into a room with an amp and a guitar and just started laying down guitar solo bits, and started off with slow ones, so it started, sort of easy, and then it got more complicated, and then did another one for the other side. And that was basically it. It was not really a lot of writing. It was just a lot of improv. And then they had some backing track that was already written to go behind it. And that was, basically one afternoon just sitting in the studio and just recording guitar solos. The second one was a little bit more involved. The theme music for the game sort of had about 4 or 5 different ideas in my head as to what would represent Guitar Hero for the actual first minute of the game when you first turn it on. And had one that sounded really good to me that I wrote the night before that I recorded it, and had a basic idea. And then we had a visual to look at that was going to be the backdrop for what you were going to be actually seeing when the music was happening. And so that sort of helped me with the arrangement, and just put together something that seemed like it would be suitable, and it came out sounding pretty good. So it's very different than how I would normally write a song for, say, Velvet Revolver or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So how does your real life experience as a Guitar Hero influence the input you gave for the game? I understand you had a lot of input that you wanted to add to number 3.
Well, when I got the initial phone call about coming down and basically having some ideas for what would be interesting for the Guitar Hero 3. I mean, it wasn't really specific. Had some ideas as far as like actually, playing me was concerned, which turned out to be an idea that they already had. Let's see, what else was there? It's been a while since we were talking about that. Basically what my character would look like, or, all that kind of stuff. I think the main thing was just trying to get an understanding of what my involvement would be coming from Activision, what they actually wanted. And having seen it, it looks amazing, but, outside of what they were thinking of, I wanted the Les Paul in there, make sure that we had a Les Paul. Just basically, so whatever my character, whenever you saw my character, it was obviously me and the kind of stuff that I use and all that kind of jazz. That was basically about it. I can't really remember. There was a lot of different ideas, and most of them got incorporated in some way, shape, or form into what is now the existing game. So I'm pretty happy.
So you mentioned the Les Paul. How close does the game controller kind of simulate an actual guitar?
Well, no, the game controller is by far completely different than an actual guitar. So any of you kids at home think that you can pick up a game controller and learn how to play an actual guitar, they're on complete opposite sides of the fence.
Mm-hmm. So why do you think this game appeals to older people, younger people, kind of cross generation?
Because I think judging by all the air guitar people out there, and just how popular guitar bands have been over the years, and how like I was influenced by guitar players when I was a kid coming up. People just like rock guitar and that whole image of it, and getting a chance to pick up a guitar that sort of pick up a piece of equipment that actually simulates a guitar, and to be able to sort of, without having to sit down and actually learn how to play from a technical point of view, to be able to just sort of push some buttons and be able to sort of make those sounds and also play your favorite songs. The same reason that karaoke works. It's just exciting to people. I think kids dig it because there's a definite sort of like bigger than life rock star image that they are attracted to, and then it's something that never goes away, so people who are in their 20s or 30s or even 40s also can relate to it, and it's just a really good time.
So if you could have a guitar battle against any living or dead guitarist, who would you choose?
I think Ted Nugent would probably be a fun guy to have a guitar battle with, because he's that type of guitar player. There's a lot of guitar players I'd like to jam with, like Jeff Beck or Eric Clapton, but I don't think you know, B.B. King or something like that. But those aren't the kind of guitar players that you actually have guitar battles with. They're not that kind of, don't have those kind of aggressive personalities. But Ted Nugent does, so that would be interesting.
Do you think you have similar style?
Say 1 second.
Siren. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So welcome to the jungles in this new game. So wanted you to talk about a little bit about, you know, the process of when you wrote the actual song,
Right.
and what it's also kind of like, you know, seeing it, you know, simulated in this game.
When I wrote the actual song, I think I was probably about 18 years old, and I remember playing it for Axl when Guns N' Roses first sort of started, and I was in my mom's basement, and you know, the beginning and the first riff and the chorus and all that kind of stuff. And so at this point, seeing it on Guitar Hero, this is the first time I ever saw it, was about 15 minutes ago. It's just a real honor to see it sort of preserved in that way. You know, I couldn't think of a better outlet for it.
So what is your favorite riff of all time?
That's a good question. There's a bunch of them. Right off the top of my head, I'd say Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, the outro riff to that song is definitely up there. Back in the Saddle was an all-time great riff, Whole Lot of Love. I could go on and on and on. There's great killer signature riffs for a lot of different bands that have come out over the years.
Do you have a favorite of your own that you've written?
Probably Slither from Velvet Revolver is a good one. There's a song called Pills, Demons, Etc. on our new Velvet Revolver record, which is pretty cool. And probably Paradise City and Welcome to the Jungle.
So, Andrew, what is the best thing about being a real guitar hero?
I don't know. I don't really picture myself in that way. And now that I've seen myself immortalized on Guitar Hero, the game, it's funny because it's definitely, in that sense, it's sort of an image, except for that it actually plays real guitar. It's very strange. So that's the first time I've ever seen myself in sort of any kind of a Guitar Hero kind of thing. So a lot of kids, you know, come up to me and tell me that they learn a lot of my stuff and this and that and the other. And it's a pretty humbling, you know, kind of a thing. So I don't really put myself up as a guitar hero. I don't think of myself like that. But the cartoon looks good, though.
I heard in an interview with Tom Morello, he said he won't play Guitar Hero because he was tired of 10-year-old kids like beating him at his own songs.
Yeah, right.
Have you had any experience, anything like that, playing your songs on?
Actually, the only person that I've played Guitar Hero against is my manager. So I haven't gotten into that whole thing of doing battles with my kids in Guitar Hero. They're too young at this point to pick up on it. But I'm sure that as soon as my kids get to be 6 or 7 years old, I'll probably not touch it because they'll be so good at it, and I won't want to have anything to do with it at that point.
Okay. And then finally, you had mentioned a little bit about, you know, some people playing Guitar Hero and trying to switch over to inspiring them to play, you know, real guitar.
Right.
So do you have any words of advice for aspiring
Well,
guitarists out there?
Guitar Hero does not teach you in any way, shape, or form how to play a real guitar. And the amount of time that people spend playing Guitar Hero, if you are an aspiring guitar player, always make sure that no matter how long you play Guitar Hero, you spend at least twice as much time playing the real thing.
Okay, that's great. I think that's everything. Okay. Appreciate it.
That's it. It could be the death of guitar players.
So when you pick up a real guitar,
There's
do you try the
already
same as the
million
buttons?
guitar players.